Okay, so if you run an e-commerce business, you know this feeling, right? You look at your stock numbers, you look at your sales, and they just don't add up. It leads to overselling, unhappy customers, it's a mess. In this explainer, we're going to unlock that mystery. Let's dive in. It seems like such a simple question, doesn't it? But man, it's one that keeps so many business owners up at night. Was it a return that somebody forgot to log? A manual count that was just a little bit off? Or maybe a sync error between your store and a marketplace? The thing is, without a clear record, you're really just guessing.
So why is this so hard to track? Well, for most businesses, inventory operates inside what you could call a black box. Changes happen, stock goes in, stock goes out, but the why and the how are totally hidden. It's time we open that box up.
I mean, think about it. In any busy e-commerce operation, your inventory is just constantly on the move. You've got orders coming in, which are always reducing stock. You've got your staff who are manually updating counts here and there, and then you have all your systems pushing those updates to multiple channels. Shopify, Lazada, Shopee. It's kind of like organized chaos.
This quote really hits the nail on the head. It perfectly captures the core problem. When something goes wrong, and let's be honest, it always does eventually, you have no breadcrumb trail to follow. You can't trace the issue, and you definitely can't explain the mismatch. You're basically flying blind.
So how do we actually fix this? Well, the good news is it's not as complex as you might think. It really just comes down to three simple but really powerful principles that let you take back control. Let's break them down.
All right, here's the framework. First, and this is crucial, you have to log every single update consistently. I don't care if it's on a spreadsheet or in some fancy system. You just need to know when and where every change was made. Second, you've got to be actively monitoring for failed updates. These are those sneaky sync errors that cause all the overselling headaches. And third, you have to know the exact timing of every single update. This is the magic key that lets you connect a stock discrepancy to a specific order or to a specific action your team took.
So that's the theory, right? But what does this actually look like when you put it into practice? Well, it looks like a dedicated inventory log, or what you might call a tracking history. This is the tool that finally turns that black box into an open book.
Take a look at this. A proper inventory log really boils down to these three crucial columns. First, you've got the exact time something happened. Then you have the operation, what actually occurred. And finally, the log, which tells you the result. So you can see right here, a user manually updated a quantity, success. An order came in and automatically reduced it, success. And then a forced sync to a marketplace, failed. Instantly, you have your first clue.
And you just saw that word, operation. So let's quickly define what that means. It's really simple. An operation is just any action that changes your inventory. It could be manual, like someone on your team physically clicking a button to update a quantity. Or it could be totally automated, like when an order from a marketplace triggers the system to deduct stock and push that new total to all your other shops. Both are equally important, and you have to track them both.
This is the real power of a good log. It lets you be proactive. Instead of waiting for an angry customer to complain about an out-of-stock item they just bought, you can just filter your log to show you only the failed updates. This lets you spot and fix those sync errors in minutes, way before they ever become a real problem. And when you actually put a system like this in place, the transformation is immediate. It's powerful. You go from this state of constant, reactive chaos to one of calm, proactive control.
I mean, the difference is just night and day. Before, you're stuck dealing with constant overselling, reports you can't trust, and just hours and hours wasted trying to investigate these phantom stock issues. But after you implement a clear tracking log, you get accurate stock levels you can actually rely on. You start spotting problems early, and whenever a question comes up, you have quick, clear answers right there at your fingertips. No more guesswork.
So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that perfect inventory tracking isn't about having the most complex spreadsheets or expensive software. It's about a simple shift in mindset. It's about demanding clarity. And when you do that, your inventory stops being this constant source of stress, and it becomes what it's supposed to be, a reliable, predictable asset for your business. And that brings us to our final question for you to think about. Right now, in your business, is your inventory a black box, full of mysteries and frustrating questions? Or is it an open book, giving you the clarity and the control that you need to grow? The choice really is yours.